Hey guys, this is EJ Holland with the Wolverine.com, and we're back with another episode of Recruit of the Week. Before we talk about this week's recruit, I do want to remind you guys to subscribe to the Wolverine.com right now for just $10 until next football season. That's $10 for all your latest recruiting information, team information ahead of the game against Ohio State. And you also get the latest on basketball. Basketball season is here as well. All of that, as well as our great message board community, The Fort, for just $10 until next football season. That's $10 until August of 2023. All right, guys, let's go ahead and dive into this week's Recruit of the Week, and that is 3-star Chicago Brother Rice defensive lineman Roderick Pierce, also known as Trey Pierce. That is what he goes by. It's Roderick Pierce III, so obviously makes sense. Pierce is one of the biggest risers on the Michigan recruiting board. He is committed to Wisconsin, but just notched an offer from the Wolverines last month. He got on campus for an unofficial visit against Michigan State, and then returned this past weekend for an official visit against Illinois. Before we talk about his recruitment, where things stand with his commitment to Wisconsin and Michigan's push, let's go ahead and talk about Roderick as a player. So he's about 6'3", 285 pounds. He's not a kid that's super long, but he is very athletic and he does have good length. He's added some really good weight to his frame recently. I think On3 only has him listed, I just checked, at 260 pounds. He definitely looks heavier than that in person. Watching his senior tape, and it's unfortunate because I did not have a chance to see him live since he was a recent offer and I just moved from Chicago. But looking at his senior tape, he's extremely impressive. His playing style reminds me a bit of Mason Graham. Now, I'm not going to sit here and predict that Pierce is going to be Mason Graham. Everybody knows how high I was on Graham, how much I, harped for a rankings bump, and you can see why he's on his way to having a freshman All-American season. But I do think Pierce is extremely undervalued by the recruiting services. In fact, let me go back over to his profile. He is ranked as the number 107 defensive lineman and the number 973 overall prospect in the country, which it's clear that he should definitely be higher than that. I mean, he is a middling 3-star, low 3-star by all accounts here. And if you look at the industry comparison, which is a neat little tool on On3 where you can see rankings across the board, he's even ranked lower than on On3's number 117 defensive lineman in the country. 24/7 has him as the number 127 defensive lineman in the country. Rivals has him near a 2-star status. It's really bad rankings across the board for Trey Pierce. All you have to do is turn on the senior season highlights, and you'll see what I'm talking about when comparing him to Mason Graham. He has great power. He has a great first step, great get off. He's a guy that consistently lives in the backfield. He's very productive. He produced against really good competition, which is definitely a positive. The same thing with Mason Graham. He obviously was ultra productive in the Trinity League, the toughest high school football league in America. Pierce played some really good competition in the Chicago area. His first game was against Loyola Academy, and his first clip, if you just go and pull up his senior huddle, is actually a great swim move for a sack against Loyola Academy, which is competing for a state title this weekend and features Michigan defensive line commit Brooks Barr. So he's playing against really good competition and looks really good. Again, the first step, the quickness, the power, it's definitely there. It definitely resembles what Mason is. And much like Mason, again, the length isn't amazing, but it's good. I think the athleticism is a little limited, but he is a guy that just checks a lot of boxes from a production standpoint, from a power standpoint, just football savvy standpoint as well. He brings him an arsenal of moves when rushing the passer from the interior of the defensive line. He's a great run stuffer as well. He understands how to take up blockers and allow others around him to make plays. So I really, really like what Pierce brings to the table. I feel like he's extremely undervalued. Like I said, I think his rankings are garbage, and he should see a bump before signing day. I know that the rankings were just updated recently, but I feel like, I believe that there is a rankings update coming before the signing day period in December. Once more senior tape is evaluated, and I'm sure once the rankers get their hands on Pierce's tape, they will give him a bump. And I encourage all of you guys to give Pierce's tape a look, which I'm sure our producer is playing on the screen over this audio. But anyway, in terms of his recruitment, which I know Michigan fans are very curious about since he is a newer target, he's been to campus twice. Look, he's committed to Wisconsin on paper, but I do not think he ends up in Madison. Obviously, Wisconsin had a coaching change in the middle of the season, which definitely does not help. Anytime a school has a coaching change or, just a firing in general, it doesn't help, especially in the middle of the season. So Pierce is definitely taking a look at some other options, Michigan being one of them. Right now, I think Michigan is the favorite coming off of 2 visits. He really enjoyed his unofficial visit for the game against Michigan State, where he got a chance to take in the night atmosphere, get a feel for the environment in the big house and around campus, meet the coaching staff and all of that good stuff, mingle with other recruits. On this weekend's visit, he had more of a chance to get an in-depth look at the program, really get a feel for Mike Elston and the way he coaches his defensive line. Had a one-on-one meeting with Jim Harbaugh as well. So I think this weekend really went a long way towards putting Michigan in that pole position. Now, I do have a flip pick in favor of Michigan right now, but it doesn't look like Pierce is going to shut it down immediately. He is still looking at a couple of other schools. Like I said, Illinois and Texas are the threats to be concerned about. Now, Illinois is obviously the home state school, but they are having a surprising season on the field. They kept it close with Michigan, which I think may be enough to impress some of those remaining targets like Pierce, like Jamel Howard, Jair Hill. These are all Illinois kids, considering Illinois that Michigan is working hard on. So Illinois is set to get an OV. Texas is set to get an OV. Now, Texas is completely out of region, but the Longhorns do offer nice weather. And Pierce told me he's always just been curious about going down to Texas, especially down to Austin. So I think he's looking forward to making the trip out there and just seeing if, hey, maybe I do want to leave the Midwest. But Pierce is a very well-spoken, high academic kid. Academics are really important to him. Now, Texas is a good school. Illinois is a good school, but Michigan is an elite school. And I think the academics are definitely going to help Michigan in this recruitment as well. I think Michigan's NFL production, just having Mike Elston as a guy who is a proven developer, will check a lot of boxes for Pierce. Now, he did tell me he was looking to make a decision closer to early signing day, maybe on early signing day. We'll see how things shake out. Again, he's still committed technically to Wisconsin. So when I say decision, I mean final decision to where he's locked up and is definitely going to that school. Like I said, I would be surprised if he sticks with Wisconsin. I think the schools to really watch are Michigan at the top, with Texas and Illinois still very much in the mix as well. I think the next few weeks in Pierce's recruitment will be really interesting. He did tell me that he wanted to get back to Michigan, so that would be another unofficial visit, and that would be great for the Wolverines. I think if Michigan does get him back for a third visit in as many months, because again, he visited in October for the UV, he visited this month for the OV. If they can get him back in for a UV in December, that's 3 visits in 3 months. I think they can lock him in. So I do think the Wolverines are in a strong spot to flip Pierce, and he would be a great land. Again, I think he's really undervalued. I think he has 4-star potential. Really excited about what he brings to the table, and I think he would be an absolute steal for Michigan. All right, guys, for more coverage on Trey Pierce and all the remaining 2023 targets on Michigan's recruiting board, make sure to stay locked in over at thewolverine.com. You can subscribe just for $10 until next football season. That's $10 until August of 2023. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It is completely free. Hope you guys have a great week as we head into the game, and go blue.